This is Fred Beck from Frederick's Fighting, proudly sponsored by Empire Fights. John joined over Zoom by Ade Oladipo. You're quite busy now, Ade. It's hard to get hold of you.
I'm busy. You can talk. You're as busy as anyone. I don't even know what country you're in, what you're doing, but look, we're all busy, right? It's good. Everyone's getting work right now. The boxing scene, the football scene, whatever, NFL, whatever, right? There's so much work out there. So yeah, I'm just trying to take as much as possible before you young kids steal it all.
I found it quite interesting what you were saying out in Texas when I was, oh, maybe it was Dubai. Maybe I can't remember.
There you go. See, there you go. You're everywhere. You're everywhere.
That sounds so showy off, but Texas, Dubai, no. I think it's one of those countries, right? You were like to me, I got to have lots of different outlets. So I got kind of a plethora of different options. There's what
Yeah.
the Zone, Talk Sport.
Yeah, so I do DAZN, Talk Sport. I'm doing ESPN Africa, and there's a betting company as well called 888 Sport. I do stuff for them, and NFL UK,
and
and
then
my
your
YouTube
channel.
channel, and my green chair.
What happened to your podcast on your YouTube channel?
It was just difficult. You know, it's difficult to kind of do it all by yourself. Like, you know, it's funny. I saw you tweet something out the other day. Like, man, it's hard doing all these videos and putting them up and editing them, and sometimes it's difficult to like get a guest, film it, cut it, edit it. I almost feel like I need an assistant. I might bring it back. Obviously, like, I'm still in my studio, so it's, you know, we can still do it. But for now, I feel like let me just do my own videos. But then maybe in the start of next year, we start to get some guests on, some boxing guest. To start, like, I really like proper conversations. You know, like when you do your thing, it's difficult because you only can speak to someone for like 20 minutes. You can't really have a proper conversation. So I like long hour conversations. So we might bring it back in the new year. Who knows?
Who do you want to get on?
Dream guest, yeah. Dream guest would probably, you know what it is? I've sat down with, it's going to sound crazy for people, but there's about five. So KSI definitely, because like his brain works differently. And I'd love to kind of understand this guy that's already a millionaire, but still wants to have fights, the drinks company, the musician, the actor, Eddie Hearn, Dana White, Conor McGregor. Yeah, you know, just a few big ones. That would be good. And AJ, obviously, like obviously, you know, like me and AJ. So I think Anthony Joshua will be good as well. But definitely KSI. Maybe Logan, you know, Logan and Jake are crazy. Like big guests, though, real big ones.
Do you think you can get those guys on? Because you got your contacts now. Got it all lined up.
Eddie, yes. AJ, yes. KSI, very difficult. But you never know, right? I do the Misfits with him. You never know. Speak to his team. Logan and Jake, impossible. I mean, nothing's impossible, but to get him down to your studio, maybe to get him on a Zoom, but to get him to the studio is going to be difficult. But I don't think I'm that far away from being able to speak to someone and, you know, someone do me a favor. I don't think we're that far away.
No, I don't think it is at all. I guess it's how you present yourself and what your kind of your aura or your PR is about. What about Trish Dixon? We hadn't heard from Tristan in a while. I used to get him on quite regularly. I need to get him on again, but would it be quite a good conversation about kind of boxing?
Yeah, Trish would be incredible. I don't think there's anyone apart from maybe Spencer Fearon. I don't think there's anyone that knows more about boxing than Trish Dixon. It's impossible. Like some of the people that he goes around and interviews, like I think I know about boxing, and he makes me feel like I know nothing. He'll tell you about a fight in 1942. So Trish would be interesting. But I have to admit though, there is something about obviously the scene that we both cover, like that kind of Misfits YouTube scene. I like those guys because those guys have got energy.
It's more
Like,
fun. It's more fun to do the YouTuber interviews than normal boxing interviews.
Unfortunately, it is, and look, some people are going to probably be hating that because obviously Ade's hardcore, but these sort of YouTube guys, they just have got more energy. They give you a bit more. They want to come on. You don't have to chase them around the world. They want to speak because they know it helps their platform as well. So I find those guys fascinating. Obviously, look, I'm new to the scene. I've only been doing this stuff with DAZN for a few months, but I find them so interesting, so engaging. They're all characters. Some of them I don't know if they're real characters or not, but they're just characters, and I find it fascinating.
It is true. It's quite different. Like, I guess for normal, maybe I should be pretty careful how I phrase my words here. But you get a lot of boxers. Maybe they're not. Sometimes they're just fighters. They're not like the best talkers. They might be more quiet. They don't like doing interviews, so they can't really help themselves. But all YouTubers, because they come up doing that way, they come up on camera. All their big personalities, they're used to it. They're used to getting in the big one. They're used to kind of talking trash, or sometimes they're just like they might put on a bit of a persona. They're great fun to talk to, whatever mood they're in. what they're doing. They've always got something interesting to say. They've got so much going on in their life. Like I could get the same YouTuber, like I could get Slim, for example. I could get every week and he'd have a new story to tell me. We could just do a 40-minute interview and we get a really good conversation. They got so much going on. They got so much to talk about. So I just find
Slim's crazy. Slim's one of the best ones. Like Slim will give you 100 miles per hour energy all the time. I can't wait to see Slim back in the UK. What, January the 14th? Slim's good. But you know, if you look, I get it. If you're a fighter, you fight, right? You're not trying to be a promoter. But nowadays, you've got all the tools to do it. So you've got a social media, you've got the YouTube, you've got the Twitter, you've got all these things, right? Use them. You got TikTok, use them. Unless you're like, you know, Conor McGregor and you can sell 30,000 tickets. If you can't do that, I'm sorry, you've got to get out there a bit more and do a bit more. And yeah, don't be faking it, but sell yourself a bit more. Like every boxer for me should have a YouTube channel. Every single boxer.
Well, it baffles me. I always tell when I meet a boxer, a prospect boxer, always like post on your Instagram. It baffles me when they put boxers. I debate Louis Horn. He's a great icon prospect in boxing. I've had him on the channel quite a few times. He's hilarious to talk to. He's crazy. He's great. I love Louis, but he doesn't post on his Instagram. I find it crazy. You got a whole.
It don't make sense.
I'm like, why? It's so easy. It's not. It's harder. It's like training so hard, Fred. I'm like, training's really, really hard. Do you know what's even easier? Posting on Instagram. It takes about 15 minutes max trying to think of a picture, caption, all that sort of thing. Not like 5 minutes, not 15 minutes. It's so quick and easy to do. Just posting on Instagram, making a funny video when you're abroad or something like that. Post on TikTok. Start doing some like fight day vlogs on YouTube channel. I think every boxer should have a kind of cameraman with them, kind of go behind the scenes during the fight, after the fight. They build so much. I think the UFC do the embeddeds so well, and that's why I do so many views during fight week. And Matchroom Boxing copied the UFC in that regard. Yeah. And they have kind of the fight day kind of build up. So I think the Josh Warrington ones are out now, and it's always a day late, but it's always very good. And I always find it quite fascinating. I think what Showtime did do very well, and they still do it for the big fights. They do the epilogues. It's not epilogues. Yeah. But, and the Floyd Mayweather ones, looking all the way back, are really good. They took the Canelo one versus down actually versus Floyd Mayweather. But they do kind of the fight week build up, the fight night build up, behind the scenes. It's all really interesting.
And look, and if you're a boxer, look, we're both around the different side of it. So I'm around the YouTube guys now. I'm also around the hardcore boxers, right? And I get it. If you don't feel comfortable at doing it, then you don't do it, but get someone to do it. Like pay someone to do it. Pay someone to be around you with a camera, take some photos, give them your Instagram access, and let them just post. Have a cameraman to do some behind the scenes stuff, because the last thing I want to see, like they rely on, say it's a Matchroom guy, they rely on Matchroom to do the content for them. No, put content up yourself. Get a camera in your gym, and pay someone to do some content. It's so important. And again, look, if you're a superstar, I get it. You don't necessarily need to do that because you're going to sell tickets regardless. But if you're an up-and-coming guy, it can really, really help. Like Ryan Garcia, before Ryan Garcia was a superstar, he was doing that kind of content. Hence why now he's got so many millions of followers. He didn't start doing it when he became a superstar. He started doing it when he was 4-0, 5-0, when no one really knew who he was. Now look, now he's a bona fide superstar because of his boxing and because of the Instagram and the YouTube stuff and the TikTok stuff. You've just got to do it, unfortunately. You have to as a boxer.
And I think once a lot more boxers start doing it, boxing becomes a bigger sport, everyone wins kind of thing. Everyone gets a lot more views, a lot more traction. It gets put out a lot more to the casuals. Because boxing, as a boxer, your main aim in a way is to get into the casual audience. So that's how you really start selling the pay-per-views and you reach the kind of big bucks.
Yeah, no, that's the way, right? You've got to do it. I mean, look, I sat down with AJ, about a month ago? I think everyone saw that clip when he spoke about KSI. And he said, look, he rates KSI and what KSI is doing. And he says, and look, AJ is the biggest name in boxing still, right? In terms of sort of money and bums on seats. And he was like, they've got to look at what KSI does. They've got to look at how they can promote themselves a bit more. So, yeah, man, look, I think both can help each other. I do think the hardcore boxers can maybe help the YouTubers when it comes to training and diets and stuff. And I think the YouTubers can help the hardcore boxers when it comes to, okay, this is how you promote yourself. So I think they should almost get together and share ideas and share things because I think both can help each other.
Well, I always find it funny on Twitter. So I'm on Twitter a lot more now. The roads how big. I kind of prefer Twitter or Instagram in a way. It's much easier to use just tweeting out something. And you can always take it, delete it, or it can go whiz up, go viral. It's a lot easier to go viral on Twitter, Instagram. And I see a lot more of these hardcore boxing guys. I think Dan Canobio, I think, well, you see
Mm.
an example where he's kind of fallen in love with the UFC in a way. Because he's realized how many times in the UFC is a 50-50 fight. In boxing, a true 50-50 fight twice, 3 times a year max, really, per
Yeah,
promotion,
it's difficult.
for example.
Yeah.
Per promotion. But UFC, it's kind of 50-50 fight every few weekends. And I kind of feel, do you think that in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years' time, UFC will be as big as boxing? Do you think it'll eventually overtake it?
I'm not sure. Like we've said this about the UFC. Like, I've been following the UFC for a long time, and there's always been that conversation that, oh, one day it's going to overtake boxing. Boxing, there is still something very special about a big boxing fight. There's something about it. Like if Errol Spence, Terence Crawford was made tomorrow, nothing in the UFC could touch it. Maybe in terms of numbers, you know, a Conor McGregor fight can touch it, but in terms of just hardcore fans going crazy, nothing can touch it. Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, AJ versus Fury. I feel like boxing would always still have the potential to outdo UFC because it can really put together a big fight, like a super fight. But look, I'm a fan of both. Sometimes I don't think it's about one overtaking the other. I think it's both of them sort of rising together. And that's why I think you even mentioned earlier that Matchroom have copied the way UFC do things. I think there's something for it. And another thing as well about the UFC, as much as I applaud it and they're able to put on these amazing fight cards, and they're not paying their fighters enough. They don't, like, if they were to pay some of the UFC guys the way boxers get paid, especially top boxers, their cards would be thin as well. Their fight cards are very stacked because the fighters don't get paid anywhere near what the boxers get paid. Like there's no way. Like I'm trying to think. Okay, Gervonta versus Ryan. I think both of them are going to get 6 to 7 million. I think it's going to get that much. There's not many UFC guys. In fact, fighting now, I'd say there's none because Conor doesn't fight. There's no UFC guys getting that. I don't think. I'll be shocked if anyone's getting that. All the top guys, Izzy's not getting that. Volkanovski's not getting that. So I don't know, man. I think unless the UFC starts paying their fighters a bit more, I still think it'll be behind boxing. But look, the gap's closing. There's no two ways about it. But I think boxing will always be number one, I think, for combat sports.
That's interesting. But do you feel for the UFC's argument, I played devil's advocate, the UFC's argument that they pay the fighters what they're worth?
This is very interesting. I think boxers actually get, and no, I've always said go out there and get the money, but I do think some boxers get overpaid. I look at what they do in terms of pay-per-view numbers and bums on seats, and I'm like, how are you getting paid that much? And I think UFC fighters get underpaid because I think that they do bring in pay-per-view numbers. So I think there's a bit of both. I think UFC fighters deserve to get a bit more, especially because it's a short career as well. And some boxers deserve to get a bit less. And that's why we don't see some of the top fights, right? We're not seeing Errol versus Terence right now because both of them want a bit more. And I don't think they're worth what they want right now in terms of pay-per-view. So I think it's a bit of both. I think the UFC still underpay, and I think boxing definitely 100% is overpaying some of the top guys, not the lower tier guys or the middle guys. I think the top guys in boxing are getting paid way too much for what they're doing.
And who are those top guys?
Oh, I'm not even mentioning them. Trying to get me, Fred, you're trying to get me cancelled, Fred. No, but honestly, you just have to look at it. Like, again, I mentioned Errol and Terence. Terence, I love Terence Crawford. Like, for me, is the pound for pound number one, and just in terms of ability. But Terence won't do good numbers pay-per-view wise. He's not going to do that. I don't know if Terence can sell out Madison Square Garden 20,000. I don't think he can do that. But Terence would want money because he's a freeweight unbeaten world champion, as opposed to the fact that he's a draw. Terence isn't a draw like that. So maybe Terence wants a bit more than he's worth. Maybe it gets like that. So there are fighters out there like Terence that are so good, but being so good doesn't mean you're going to get the highest pay. It doesn't work like that. It's not like football where the best footballer will be the highest paid footballer. It doesn't work like that. It's can you bring in the fans and can you sell pay-per-views? And a lot of the best boxers can't do that. That's the problem.
Right, okay. I kind of see where you're coming from then. But in your position now, where you work for DAZN, and when you work for a broadcaster, you can't speak against the broadcaster. Is there a very fine line you're careful not to cross?
It's a good question. It's difficult. I mean, I was still, and like I said on my channel, and it's a funny thing, I speak to the head of boxing for DAZN quite a lot. We're very close.
I met that guy.
Yeah,
I
Chris
love him. He's
Glanville.
amazing.
Nice
He's
guy,
so
yeah.
funny.
Nice guy. And I said, look, you picked me having watched my channel. So you know what I'm about. You know what I say. So yes, I can't go deep on it, but I will still say if a fight's not great, I'll say that wasn't great. If a fighter wasn't great, like what one was it? Dillian White fought the other day. I said Dillian White was poor, so I can say that. Huh?
Do you think Dillon won?
I think he won just, but
By
even
round.
that's not good enough by a round or two. But even that's not good enough. So I can say that, but I can't obviously say the zone is crap. I can't say Matchroom are rubbish. I mean, that would be silly. That's suicide. But I can say, for me anyway, I can and I will say if I think a fight's not great or the fight wasn't competitive or one of the superstars didn't perform, I can definitely say that. And it's like even the Conor Benn stuff with Eubank Jr. I think I was as vocal as anyone on it. And that's a Matchroom superstar, if you like. So look, it's tough. It's a thin line. It's difficult, but I think I'm navigating it quite well.
Yeah, you are. That's quite interesting because I feel like a lot of other people who come into zone will have to kind of speak more on the broadcaster and be more of a company man. But you kind of manage to keep your own shoes on rather than wearing someone else's shoes, which is quite good to see. And I hope you'll see more of it in the future. But for yourself, Ade, and your channel, what's your kind of plan over the next, or I guess 2023? What's the plan for your channel?
I think the last couple of months, I've done a lot more videos recently, but the last couple of months, I've just, as you know, we've traveled so much. And I feel like I've kind of let the channel down a bit. So it's a case of getting back to my roots with it. So it's loads more content, whether it just be me looking at the camera, doing more lives, way more live watch-alongs. I did Fury Chisora the other day, which done good numbers. Well, good numbers for me, not for you anymore, Fred. I know your kind of decent numbers are crazy right now. You like that hundreds of thousands and stuff, but decent for me.
Well, no, they what numbers were they? Because your live watch alongs always do really, really good.
They did okay. I think we had like 3,500 people watching it at like one time.
Yeah, that's very. That's 3,500.
Yeah, 3,500 for a live is a lot, right? So I think in the end it was like 50,000 in total, which again for me is not good, but I think because it's my first one in a long time, I was like, okay, people still know I'm about. So I want to do way more lives, but I also want to get back to the root of just interviewing people. Like what you said, kind of the podcast stuff, interviewing people, getting people down. I've got my own studio for a reason, so I want to use it. But yes, I think more of that.
Okay. What about merchandise? Well, you got merchandise out, but you're going to push it a little bit more?
Probably not, if I'm honest with you. Probably not. I mean...
Too much of a headache?
Yeah, too much of a headache. And like, I feel like I'm trying to juggle too much. Like, again, if I could do some good merch and handle it, give it to someone to handle, fine. But we're trying to juggle the YouTube channel, the Zone with Matchroom, the Zone with Misfits. I've got the Zone soccer show. I've got Talk Sport. I've got the NFL stuff. So there's like 6 or 7 things to juggle and something needs to give. And I think the merch needs to give. I'm going to let you handle that. You and your Fred Red Tops can handle the merch. I'll leave it alone. What about you and your channel, Fred? What about you and your channel? Because your channel's grown crazy in the last sort of 6 or 7 months. Like every time you tweet, it's like, yeah, we've just gone past 35,000 subscribers, 40,000, 50,000. I'm like, Jesus. And the numbers are massive. What's the aim for you now? Now that you're in this, you're in it properly now. Everyone knows you. What's the aim for you? 100,000 by what? May next year? Summer?
Well, May 10th is my birthday. It's funny you bring that up because I was talking to my roommate. I'm up here at uni in Manchester. I was talking to my roommate about it yesterday. I was like, it'd be so cool to get an Instagram picture with 100,000 plaque and a birthday cake. And that looked really, really funny. But I don't know.
It's possible, isn't it?
Misfits have got a number of events next year. And so have Kingpin as well, who are doing a lot of those events next year as well. Maybe
Global going to do some stuff.
Who?
Global
Titans are good, but the good thing about Misfits, it's going to be done properly.
Yeah.
Global Titans, like the week Floyd Mayweather was quite stressful. Like it wasn't great. It wasn't very well organized at all. Really. Misfits.
No, I was there, so I can testify to that. It wasn't compared to a Misfits one.
Misfits done quite well. You know what you get.
It can be chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be fights. There can be, as you know, there can be fights. There can be chaos, but they're good events. And this Misfits card coming up January 14th is ridiculous.
It overshadows every single boxing card like in 2022. I think it's the best boxing card. Well, it's a shame it's not just in December because I would have said that's the best boxing card they've got.
And the biggest shame for me is that it's not O2 Arena. I have no idea why they're doing it at Wembley Arena. Like when I was told, I'm like, it will sell out O2 in a second.
How many? It's like 6,000, isn't it? The Wembley.
No, so the Wembley Arena is 13.
Oh, 13. Okay.
13. Like, what are you doing? Like, go O2 again. O2 was amazing for Misfits 1. Like, go to O2 again. Like, there must be something going on that day at the O2 or something.
There better be. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get in more venues. I have to ask Mams. That's an interesting question. But what Manchester Arena? How many does that fill?
13 as well or something. 13 as
13 as
well.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I think O2 is the biggest indoor arena for 20. And then obviously we're talking stadiums, and it's too cold to do a stadium in January, so that makes sense. But they should have gone O2 Arena. Surely.
So what's the second biggest arena, the inside one?
I think it is AO Arena, Manchester. So I think it's O2, then Manchester, then Wembley Arena, and then you've got ones like First Direct Arena in Leeds, Echo Arena in Liverpool. We don't have that many arenas in it. Like America's got hundreds of thousands of them. We don't have that many. So maybe it's just a case of there's an event going on at the O2 or something. But ask Mams when you speak to him, like, why did they not go? Because you know it's KSI. You send it out. But now the card's even got even more sick. Like the card, like Salt Pappy versus Josh Bruckner. That's ridiculous.
That card that would sell out that arena without KSI. Then with KSI, even better, even more insane.
There you go. There you go. So it's just a shame that, because I know a lot of people want tickets, and I know a lot of people are going to reach out to me and say, Ade, can you get some? And I'm like, if it was at the O2, I'd be able to maybe sneak some because it always keeps some tickets behind. But this one, no chance.
I still think it's fantastic they got the what's it called? The Wembley Arena, because it's gonna be so loud in there.
Yeah.
Crazy. I think when Deji fought Fuzi, and I think when Deji knocked Fuzi down, I think that's probably the loudest I've ever been in an arena. Because it was sold out already for the last KSI fight in August. When Deji knocked Fuzi down in the O2 arena, and that's a lot bigger. That was really, really loud. Probably the loudest of the night.
Dude, that I've obviously done so many events, and like in terms of indoor, I don't think I've seen anything like KSI 1, like that sort of the Misfits 1 indoor arena. I think outdoor, obviously, I've been to AJ events, so they've been really big. But indoor, I remember looking up thinking, I've never ever seen this place this busy from 6 o'clock. Like as soon as the doors opened, it was like boom. And I was like, wow, this is special, like beyond belief special. That was a crazy event. Crazy.
Yeah, certainly. It's gonna be like that in January. I mean, the cards are arguably better this January card. I mean, there's 50-50 matchups on it. But the plan, going back to your question, the plan for the channel, it's quite difficult because I want to branch out. Boxing is very, very niche. And I've begun to understand that in the last few months when you just even step into the YouTube world, how niche the sport of boxing really is. I can say to a friend at uni, oh, I'm going to interview, who should use an example? I'm going to interview Josh Warrington. He's very well known boxing, but in the outside world, no one knows who he is. Well, no one will know who he is. So they say who? Well, not really, in boxing, he's very respected, he's very well known. So I do want to branch out. So I think when I start another channel, have Fred Talks, have a sit down podcast, and get all types of celebrities on, just anyone really. So I do get that channel now, but I want to build the channel up a bit more, make it a bigger, stronger audience, get 100K, 150K, and then I'll look at doing a podcast.
No, you're right. You're right. The
I know Jumper, or I like Lex Friedman, that sort of thing.
Good shout. Honestly, Joe Rogan, those type of guys where they just talk to everyone and everyone. So it's not about the guest, it's about you really. And I don't think it's a good idea because boxing, I mean, it's just not big enough. Like for me, for example, if this was about football, this channel, my channel, I would have had 100,000 subscribers like that. Like the fact that all these boxing channels are going and only a few of them are even doing anything. Like it's so niche. It's so niche. And we don't have enough superstars to keep it going. That's why with the YouTube guys coming in, it's actually helped a bit. Because now it's like, okay, I can interview some of you guys as well because you guys are big. So it's actually helped. But yeah, I think it's a good idea that you branch out. Branch out. Talk. You can talk to anyone. Like, you know, you're able to talk to anyone. It isn't just boxers. You can talk to anyone. And you've got your own thing. Everyone wants to talk to you. So has anyone, don't mention names, has anyone been a bit of a cock and turned down an interview?
Not really, because they always said, "Oh, sorry, I got to rush" or something like that. Yeah. Oh, bro, I got to go do this. It's never been like, "Oh no," and they kind of just,
okay.
I don't know. I always kind of, I don't think I'm that cool a person. I think I'm like a normal little kid. So always when the people are always really happy to talk to me, always really, "Oh, thanks so much, man." I'm kind of get excited by it. So I don't
no, you know what it is? There's definitely an innocence about you that I think people love. Like even watching you when you had that one with Logan Paul and what's the guy that was next to him?
My mate, like, yeah.
People love that. Like people just like, because you're like, oh my God, like what the hell is going on? And they were so much bigger than you. And I think people just like that. And you know what it is as well? One thing that you definitely do better than 90% of interviewers out there, you're not trying to trip up the interviewee. You're not trying to, you're not trying to make him say something just to make a clickbait type headline. Whereas other people try and do that. They try and get the interviewee to maybe say something that's going to be a bit controversial. You just ask them questions. And I think people like that. They don't feel pressurized.
Well, I can understand why people do that, because you get more views, you get more AdSense, you get to eat better that month, you get more food. And it basically is like shrinking it down. But if they're like 30 years old, I can understand when they're doing that. Because I'm 18, I saw this when I was 16. Been working hard every single day since I'm 16. And I'm 18. I feel like I've been doing it forever now. But I feel like the longevity in relationships a lot more important than the short-term money.
Yes.
It's the most important thing ever.
Fact.
And that's why I believe it's better to build better relationships, to be friends with people, or trying to like flog them out for money. I think that's the wrong thing to do.
It's the biggest thing. It's the mistake I see a lot of new channels. A lot of the older channels have got relationships, but I see a lot of the newer channels do it. And I've spoken to people where they've done an interview. So I've spoken to boxers. They've done an interview with a channel, and a channel will just maybe pick out one line.
Yeah.
And that'll be the title. And they're like, come on, man. I said so much more. You're making me look a bit, like it's a little bit silly. So the boxers don't like it. And, boxers are quite sensitive. So I think, yeah, it's smart. You got to play the long run in this game. Like a lot of the channels come and go. I've seen a lot of channels, trust me, a lot of channels come and go after about 6 or 7 months where they do something, they get 20,000 views or 50,000 views, and then it goes back down to 50 views and 100 views. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, because you set the boxer up. No one wants to speak to you anymore. So you got to be very, very careful with it. But look, for you in this run, so far, so good. I'm shocked that you're still in uni, which is amazing. Because I know a lot of people have said, you know what? We're done with these books. We've made the money. Let's keep going. So I think it's so impressive that you're still doing your uni stuff.
Well, I missed quite a lot of it so far. I do broadcast journalism. I did an exam today, or like obviously a big essay. I hate writing. There's the thing about broadcast journalism course. There's so many other things. Like what I do right now is one skill, which is interviewing or presenting, as it were. There's so many other skills you can learn doing it. I guess it was always a backup. The only thing for second year is like these things called news days, where obviously you present a whole news program, a group of people, and I don't like it. Like I've always kept myself. People said I get so many messages. It's really kind of people. They send me messages saying, "Oh, Fred, can be your cameraman, can be your editor. I come work for you. I'll do it for free," all that sort of thing. I always kind of politely turn them down because all I can kind of rely on is myself almost. So like, I
love that.
If we're doing a news day and there's a group of 8 of us, and I'm like, I've got to go to cover this press conference, and I have to be there. Like, they got like a massive press conference next week. I won't say which day it is. I'm like, okay, I've got to miss uni for that press conference. If you got like a news day on, we're gonna let down a whole group of mates. I mean, if I was in their position, I'd be a little bit annoyed as well at the same time. So maybe next year I feel like, okay, blimey, is it really worth it? So I think I get a difficult decision to make, but then at least like going to uni, you know what it's like. I mean, a lot of people say to me, "Oh yeah, you go for the uni experience." I'm either working or I'm asleep, and I think
you know what's crazy. You know what's crazy? They say the uni experience. I mean, they obviously don't realize the experience you're getting traveling the country. Like forget uni experience. That's one thing. I mean, like you were right in the thick of things with Anthony Taylor smacking Dillon and Danis. Like you have more life experience than anyone would have at uni. That's why I tweeted the other day, didn't I? I think I tweeted.
Yeah, that's kind. I saw that. Thank you.
In my head, I was thinking, what was I doing at 18? Like seeing you over there in the thick of things, people are throwing hands and you're rushing to get an interview and doing. I'm like, people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. Where people, it's not like these, like these fighters are lined up for you to interview. You've got to go and hustle to get them. And I meet you at this hotel. I'm coming over here. To do that at 18 by yourself in another foreign land is sensational. It's sensational. So I can't applaud you for more. Like what you've been doing, Fred, I just think's ridiculous at your age. Like, look, Wade does it. Like you're similar to Wade. Wade's 12 years older than you. Do you know
Wade's
what I mean?
30, yeah. Wade's an old man.
It's incredible. Look, this is not against Wade because I think Wade's probably the best out there, but that's the difference. You're 18 doing that. Imagine what it's going to be like when you're 21, 22.
I want to
Oh, if you
retire then.
keep up
I'll
to
be
it.
done by then. I'll be out the.
No way. I don't think you will be.
No, no, I'll
I
still be
think
in
you
it.
probably have the biggest channel. I think you probably have the biggest channel, and you'll be doing broadcast stuff as well. Like the way Wade's come on the zone. I think you could be doing that because obviously you're doing the broadcast journalism. So I think you'll be doing your YouTube plus doing real stuff for the zone or whoever.
I want to have my own like sit down podcast. I think by the time I'm like mid-20s, I won't have the energy and effort to be running around like a madman like I do now. I mean, it's fight nights. I don't particularly enjoy them. I love it after the sit when you sit down in your bed after you can lie back, relax. I enjoy the spectacle of it, an amazing event they put on. But in my part, I don't enjoy it myself. I'm so stressed out because fight nights is where you get the majority. You get about 90% of your views. We have to earn the money back for your hotels you spent on flights and stuff like that. So you earn all the money back. So you're running around like a madman. Well, all fight week, I'm running around like a madman, trying to grab as many people as possible, getting them every day. Oh, I'll meet you here. They don't turn up. Okay, rearrange it. We'll meet you there. So by mid-20s, I don't know. I will have still the energy to do that. So that's why I want to start doing a podcast and something by the back end of next year. On a very sit-down podcast on a different, maybe on a different channel or on this channel, and slowly build it up. So the time I'm like 30s and like I'm getting a bit like flying, this is getting quite a lot now. I can kind of rely on that and have like a sit-down podcast by Rogan. And by your 40, you got like a whole verified podcast.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea because look, even me now, I feel stressed as well. Like, even when I do these events and I'm the broadcaster, I'm so knackered after because of the stress of not making a mistake and making sure everything's perfect. Everyone goes out after the events. Like even on Saturday, Josh Warrington, everyone's going to go out. I'm going straight to my hotel to sleep because it is stressful. It's like, so like Ade, 5, 4, 3, live. And I'm like, here we go. And it's so, don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake. And it's like, So after the night, I'm just shattered. At the end of the night, I'm shattered. And I feel bad because I got a lot of YouTubers coming up to me. Ade, quick interview. And I'm like, guys, I am shattered. I'm going home. So I think we all feel the same. But look, we're all in this business. We love it. It's not a bad job to have. And right now, you're killing it, bro. You must be in the top 5 or something.
Well, I'm glad you're very lucky when you say that. Oh, it's not bad. I do love it. If I wouldn't work as hard as I do if I didn't love it. Then again, it's really hard work. But then I've always got a strict thing that I upload every single day, get into it every day. Or I didn't upload yesterday because I was actually just so tired. I had loads of stuff. But then even yesterday, I was still planning, arranging interviews, doing interviews. I think I interviewed Annie Taylor about 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday. So I still work. I'm still obviously still working, but I think you got to be smart, plan ahead. I think what I should start doing is have a day where I upload a little clips on YouTube and put them on private. So I can, on a day where I haven't got anything planned, I can upload a couple of clips. So I think to work smart and work hard is a better thing. But then I just don't want to work a normal job. I don't want to work like a 9-to-5 sort of job. Because I kind of go into like restaurants and stuff like that. And I used to do pot wash like 6 months ago. And it was really, really hard work. And I kind of see other people in their jobs and they don't look like they enjoy it at all. They're kind of sick of it. And I couldn't, that's hell to me, working 9 to 5 and you absolutely hate your job. And I kind of realized now, obviously, as you grow up, I guess I've grown up quite quickly in the last year or two, that so many people who work 9 to 5s absolutely despise their jobs. It's hell on earth. They say you're a good person if you go to heaven, you're a bad person, you go to hell. Well, some people, they're already in hell because they're already working a job they dislike. They're already working, really don't like whatsoever.
I need to sometimes
it's so important. You should work hard now and build your base. And then by the time you're kind of mid-20s, you got a certified job you can stay in.
Yeah, like I've been through those kind of hell like jobs that you're talking about, and I feel so lucky. Like sometimes I do moan, sometimes I'm like, oh God, like why do I have to still be here interviewing? But then I realize how lucky I am. Like I get flown across the world, business class, talk boxing. I'm like, what is going? Like how's that happened? That's incredible. So I would never, as much as I do moan sometimes, I always go home and I'm like, thank you, God. Because as you say, I know friends that are in those jobs that they do hate, but they've got a wife and kids, so they have to stay there and do it. Because I'm in a job, which pays quite well, and I talk about a sport I love. It's the dream. Like honestly, it's the dream job. I get to interview some of the best people in the world, the most famous athletes in the world, and I don't have to queue for the interview. They come straight to me, and I am so lucky. I still want more though. I'm going to attack it next year. It's going to be liftoff. Like, I'm going to do everything. You're going to see me do everything next year. This year was a little tread in the waters. Next year, I'm taking over.
I think you should take the hat off because then people will really see you the whole time. Like in interviews, I never wear any hats whatsoever. So I feel you want to get your face out there as much as possible. So when people wear hoods in interviews, like it looks kind of cool. It looks kind of cool wearing a hood like that in an interview or wearing a hat. But then again, they can't see your face
There you
properly.
go, bang. There you go. Have a look at this. Have a look at that ball there. There you go. This is Ade Oladipo in the flesh.
Well, because then I feel then you get your face out properly, and then you get your face everywhere. Where I think a couple of TikToks, but kind of I was wearing a hat, and it could like do like 2 mil or like 1 2 mil, and it's like sugar. I should.
And they can't even see you.
Yeah, he's like you won't recognize you, or you won't clock who it's me, or stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's annoying. That's annoying.
That's only my thing. I've realized in the last few months, like the hats and stuff like that. Show your face as much as possible. Get yourself out of there and promote yourself as a product as well.
I will do. No, I will do. We're getting there. It's been a big change this year, but we're getting there. I think that there's more to come from Ade Oladipo. Loads more to come. But again, the journey so far has been a good one. But being around you guys, I think it's you younger YouTube guys have given me that more energy. It's like I feel like when I'm around you guys, I feel youthful. So there's still a lot more to come from you just because of you lot. You like give me energy, honestly. Watching you guys film, upload, run, next interview, dude, I'm like, Jesus. Okay, come on, Ade. More.
It's when you're in the swing of it, you don't realize it's hard work, I guess. I think once you're out of it, you look back and like, oh, it's hard work. So I think if I was in your position, I'd be like, oh wow, I can never do that. Because it's like kind of so much.
No, I 100% could not do what you guys do. It's not like that. There requires way too much energy. I could not do that.
But then that's because you got your DAZN kind of job. I feel like you'd easily be able to do it if you're in my shoes. You think, oh, hey, it's actually way easier. I think it's quite interesting. I mean, I'll use David Dobrik as an example. When he was uploading like 3 vlogs a week, it's quite a lot. I could do a good 4-minute funny video every 3 days. Well, no, 3 days, but 3 times a week. I mean, a YouTuber called Casey Neistat said to him, once you go to 1 video a week, you're never, ever, ever going to go out to 3 videos a week. It will just seem way, way too much.
Has he gone to 1 video a week?
Yeah, well, now he's at 0 videos a week. But he went to 1 video a week for like a good 2 years. He never.
But why is he on 0 videos a week? Why?
Because he's got some deal with Snapchat now, and he does a podcast, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But you never get. I think that's why you always got to keep the pace. Because once you drop down a level, it's very hard to go back up. I feel
it's so hard. Like I used to do 4 videos. There was times on my YouTube when it had to pay the bills, I did 4 videos a day.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And now I do 1 a week, 1 a day, and even that's a lot for me. I'm like, geez. So now we're trying to get back to it again. So I always come here in the mornings, film, then go home. But I came back for you. I came back to the studio for you.
We got a good 40 minutes in. But I've got to ask, how long do you do 4 videos a day for?
I probably did that for about a year because that's what paid the bills. So for about a year, I was doing 4 videos a day. I'd literally go on the YouTube and find subjects to talk about because that was the only way rent was going to be paid.
Wow, so you got all of AdSense is put towards the rent. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Had to pay the bills. Had to pay the bills, dude.
Now you made it. Come full circle to DAZN.
Now I've got the mansion. No,
the Bugatti, everything.
The Bugatti and the Rolex.
Awesome, that's great, Ade. That's a really nice piece you just done here. I'll send you the link when it's up, but the Zoom is literally about to run off the time now. About 10 before it all shuts down. But when do I see you now? I'll see you in January next then.
100%. No, I'm hosting the press conference next week.
Okay, yeah, perfect. I'll see you there then. That's amazing.
Yeah, we'll see me there.
Awesome. Ade, thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
No problem, brother. Take care.